Hello again. Today I'm going to show you how to make this rectangular coaster for someone who has never crocheted before. So if you've never even touched a crochet hook in your life, this is the video for you. I will show you all of my tips and tricks. Let's get started. Now, before you start your project, you're going to want to find what size hook you need for your yarn. Most yarns that are basic will tell you. So this one says 5.5. For the hook, that means on your hook, you can look and find what size it is. And so this one's a 5.5, so this can go with this yarn pretty well. If it's like 0.25 off, let's say I want to use my 5.25, that's fine. It's just going to make the stitches a little tighter. So make sure you have at least somewhat close of a hook size. Now that we have the right hook, we are going to start making chain stitches. So this right side, the side that's connected to the yarn, that is my working yarn. The side to the left, that is my tail. We are going to start by making a slip knot. So holding the working yarn in my right hand, the tail in my left, I'm going to take the working yarn and kind of put it over the tail so that it makes that cross. See that? Then I'm going to take my right hand, I'm going to push that yarn back through behind the loop and grab it. Okay, so I'm pulling it through. Grab the tail with your hand and pull, and eventually a loop will form. This is our slip knot. It should be easy to move. See, watch this. I'm going to pull both strands so that it goes almost all the way to my hook, but leave a little room. In crochet, we want a little room between the loop of our yarn on our hook and what am I trying to say? You want a little room here, okay? Now that we got our slip knot, I'm going to show you how to hold the yarn in your other hand like this. So we are going to, just hold on to your hook, we are going to go over the pinky, under your two middle fingers, and over your pointer. Then you're going to take your middle finger and your thumb and you're going to grab onto that slip knot. Making sure, I think people don't realize this, you should point your pointer finger. That's what it's made for. This gives us this tension area here. I don't know if that's what people call it, but that's what I call it, the tension area. It should be just like this. If it's too loose like that, we're going to have some problems in the future. It's just not going to be great, okay? So just make sure it's a little tight. Come on now. So we're all set up, so we're ready to do our first chain. So here's what we're going to do. Have that hook facing you. See it? It's facing me. Then you are going to put it towards you and down and under that tension area so that it wraps around. See that? Now there's two loops on my hook. Then you're going to face the hook towards the bottom of that loop, towards the floor, and your whole goal is just to get it through our slip knot. Perfect, and give it a little room. See, I'm giving it a little room. And that, my friends, is your first chain. Isn't that so exciting? Okay, let's do another one. Hook's facing me, facing you. We're going to bring it towards us so that we can go down and around. There's two loops on there. Pull it down, face it parallel to the bottom of that last chain you just did, and pull it through. Give it a little room. You want to give it a little room so that you can do your next stitch. Perfect. Now we have two. Let's do one more. Down and around. Awesome. Pull it parallel to the bottom. Pull it through, give it a little room, and that, my friends, are our chains. As you keep working, do about 15 chains, why not, okay? As you keep working, though, notice how when I go through the loop, I move my middle and my thumb finger along with my work. See that? That will help you in the future because if you don't move it, let's say you keep it at the bottom here. Look how hard it is to get my setup and to do everything. And then it's hard to keep your hook stable. I go down around, and when I pull it through, it's hard to keep good tension. Just don't do it. Just move along with your work. Trust me, it will help you tremendously. Okay, so do 15 chains, and then I will come back and see you. Look at how fantastic we are doing. It's okay if yours doesn't look as good as this. This is your first time. Don't worry. So you know now how to do a chain stitch. I'm going to show you how to do a single crochet. We are getting crazy. For the single crochets, when we start a new row, we always skip a chain. So that last chain you did, it looks almost like a little bubble. We are going to skip that, and we are going to shove our hook into this next loop here, okay? So let's do that. Have your hook facing you. We are going to shove it through that loop there. See that? So that there's 2 on our hook. Now, for a single crochet, we are going to grab the yarn. All you have to do is get it in that hook, grab it. You're going to pull it through a loop, but not through both. You're just going to pull it through a loop so that there's 2 loops on there. Does that make sense? I hope so. Then it's going to be just like our chain stitch. We are going to go down around so that the yarn is on our hook, and we're going to face the ground, and we're going to go parallel to the bottom of those loops and pull it through both. And that is a single crochet. You guys are doing so good. Let's work into our next stitch. So it's not going to be this big open hole here. That's not the next stitch. Our next stitch is going to be this one. Okay, sometimes it looks deceiving. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to shove it through the stitch we're going to work in. We're going to put our hook through it. So we have 2. We're just going to grab the yarn anyhow you want so that it goes through that loop. Now we have 2 loops on here. Just like our chain stitches, we are going to go down and around so that it catches onto that hook. We're going to pull it, face it to the bottom of those loops, pull it through both. Now you have 2 single crochets. So if you want to work in the next stitch, look at this. It's very deceiving when you first crochet to see the next stitch. So it's not that giant hole there. It's probably going to be the one next to it. Let's do one more together, and then you can go to the end of the row. So looking at that, I'm going to shove my hook through it. Oh, let me not cover. I'm going to shove my hook through it so that there's 2. I'm going to grab that yarn with my hook, pull it through 1 so that there's 2 on there. Just like the chain, down and around. Face the hook towards the bottom of those loops and pull it through both. And that is that. Now you know how to single crochet. So go all the way to the end. It's kind of hard to see the last stitch. What I like to do is make sure that that last part, that my yarn is tight so that you can see the stitches more clearly. So get to the end and I will come back and find you. Here's my last stitch for this row. So I'm just going to do my last single crochet. And then I'll show you how to go on to the next row. First off, appreciate how great you're doing so far. When you get to the end of the row and you're single crocheting, this is what we do. We first chain 1, where we do the down around, pull it through. That's our chain. Then we do what's called turning your work. So all you do is literally turn it, because you always crochet from right to left, okay? That chain we just did was for literally nothing. We are going to skip it. So pretend like that chain doesn't exist. We're skipping it, and we're going to go into that single crochet there. Then we're just going to continue like we have been. So take your hook through the first single crochet, skipping that chain, that little knot there. We're going to shove our hook through that open hole. Grab the yarn just like a normal, this is a normal single crochet. I'm just showing you how to do it again. So that there's 2 loops, and then down and around and pull it through the bottom of those loops. Make sure you keep a little bit of room so that your work isn't too tight. Okay? Then you're going to go into the next stitch. It's not going to be this giant hole here. It's going to be the one next to it. We are going to shove our hook through. Trust me, it'll go through. And this is what it looks like when you go through. There's usually 2 loops on top. Well, you see what I'm saying? Well, you know what? Just don't even listen to me. You're going to shove it through. You're going to grab your yarn. The 2 loops, just a normal single crochet. So you're going to keep single crocheting all the way down till you get to the end, and then we will do the same thing. I'm going to show you what that looks like. You can watch me single crochet for a bit if you want to see an example. I will show you right now. And at first it's frustrating, but as you keep going, it gets a lot easier. The hardest part, I think, for beginners is the tension. When I say tension, I mean some of your stitches might be looser than others or tighter than others. That just comes with time, okay? That just comes with time. You're fine. You're doing great. Okay, so make it to the end of the row, and then we will keep going. So I have one more stitch at the end of my row, so I'm going to do my single crochet. The ends are really hard to do, so don't worry. See? Look at that. It's hard to do the end of the row. But there we go. We're going to do the same thing as last row, and then we're going to keep doing it. So I'm going to show you one more time how to continue the end of the row, and then you're going to be on your own. So we're going to chain 1. We're going to turn our work, and then we're going to forget about that chain we just did and jump right into that first stitch there, that big old hole. So I'm going to shove my hook through it. I'm going to grab my yarn. So there's 2 loops. Wrap it around and pull through both, just like the single crochets we've been doing. Now I'm going to go into the next stitch, which is this one. I'm going to do the same old thing, just regular old single crochets. You are just going to keep doing that same thing. Let's see. Okay, let's see. That was 2 rows. Let's do 10 rows. You're going to do 10 more rows of that, and then we're going to come back together, okay? It just takes a lot of practice. So do 10 or whatever length you want your square rectangle to be. This is your project. This is your first project. You can make it however you want it to be, but if you want like a coaster, do about 10 more rows, and then I will come back and show you how to end your project. So I have one more stitch for my 10th row, so I'm going to do that right now. And then once you're at your 10th row and you did your last single crochet, here's how you end your projects. Here's at least how I do it. It's pretty basic. You cut your yarn, but leave a little bit of a tail. So I'm just going to cut it. Yarn's still on there. I'm going to wrap it around, and I'm going to pull it through all the way. And then just tug on it, nice and secure. And that is the end of your project. But look at these little things on the end. Well, don't worry. I like to cut it so it's like not too long. And then we're going to weave in the ends. So to weave in the ends, you just shove your hook through any of the stitches and grab the yarn and pull it through. And then you just go through the other side. Oh, can you see that? I hope so. Go through the other side, shove your hook through somewhere around where that tail is and grab it. And you're literally weaving in the ends. So shove your hook through, weave it in. Look where it is on the other side, shove your hook through, weave it in. I hate doing this, and I think most crocheters would agree that this is like the worst part of a project. So just do it until you're like, that was a lot. And then if I get lazy, I'm like, that was enough. And I just cut it, and I think that'll be fine. See, look, now it looks like it's gone. So just weave in your ends, and then you will have a nice little coaster. I got McDonald's. There you go. And would you look at that, your first project, a little rectangle. I hope you guys like this video, and I love you guys, and if I never see you again, I hope you have a good life.